Good afternoon. It is my pleasure on the behalf of Fort Bend ISD, our Board of Trustees, Superintendent, and Meadows Elementary staff to welcome you this afternoon to the rededication of Meadows Elementary. At this time, I ask that you rise for the presentation of colors by our Boy Scout Troop 731, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Meadows students James Autry and Sawyer Miller.
Color guard, attention. Color guard, forward march. Color guard, halt. Color guard, present the colors.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Color guard, post the colors. Color guard, return to post. Color guard, halt. Color guard at ease, audience at ease.
Thank you again, Troop 731. You now may be seated. As our entertainment this afternoon, it is with my great pleasure to introduce the Meadows Choir under the direction of Miss Terry Court. Wonderful, wonderful performance, boys and girls. Thank you so much. It is now my honor to introduce our Fort Bend ISD Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Christy Whitbeck, who will introduce some special guests who have joined us today to share some remarks.
Well, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with you on this beautiful Sunday and for such a wonderful reason to celebrate this beautiful school, to hear the voices of our children. Thank you, Courtney, and to the staff for all that you've done to make today possible. It is truly a great day in Fort Bend ISD as we rededicate Meadows Elementary. I would like to introduce some very special guests that are with us today. Please stand and remain standing as I call your name. I'll begin with the Fort Bend ISD Board of Trustees. President Dave Rosenthal. Board Secretary, Dr. Shirley Rose Gilliam. Board Member Judy Day. Board Member Kristen Davison Malone. And Board Member Angie Hannon. Thank you all for being here. Today we have the pleasure of welcoming City Council Alderman Kelly Mills. Are you here? Thank you for being with us today as well. And are there any other elected officials that we may have not known? Yes, Tina, glad to have you. Thank you. I would also like to introduce members of the executive leadership team that are often behind the scenes doing a lot of work to support campuses. Starting with Deputy Superintendent Steve Bassett, Deputy Superintendent Beth Martinez, Chief of Schools Dr. Kwabena Mensah, Chief Academic Officer Dr. Kimberly Lawson, Chief Information Officer Long Pham, Chief Communications Officer Veronica Sofer, Chief Human Resource Officer Glenda Johnson, Chief Operations Officer Oscar Perez, and our Chief of Police, David Ryder. Also joining us today is the Executive Director for Elementary Education that oversees Meadows Elementary, Ms. Ida Ford. And now I'd like to introduce those that have been instrumental in the construction of this amazing facility. As I call your name, if members of your firm, please stand to be recognized. Gensler provided architectural services. Gensler. The structural engineer was Henderson Rogers Structural Engineers. Civil engineer was PRD Land Development Services. Mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineer was Jones DBR Engineering Consultants. And the general contractor was Weber Commercial. We thank each of those services for the many, many hours they spent helping to bring this building to fruition. The original Meadows Elementary School campus opened its doors to students in August of 1973. In 2018, voters passed a bond package that earmarked money for the demolition and the construction of this amazing school, this beautiful campus before us. In May 2019, the community gathered to celebrate the 45th anniversary of this school just before the doors closed on the old campus for the final time. Meadows students were welcomed into this campus in the spring of 2021. I'm confident that this very close-knit community will continue to provide unwavering support for the boys and girls and faculty and staff for generations to come. Principal Dickey, we are very proud of you and your team, your amazing staff for all that they've done through a pandemic to help transition to this fabulous facility. And we thank you very much for your leadership, and I will turn it back over to Principal Dickey.
All right, boys and girls, if you're part of our speech, there you go. Come on up.
Meadows Elementary has been part of Fort Bend ISD school system for 48 years. Over these years, we have been honored to serve the community of Meadows Place, Texas, and continue a legacy established and upheld across the campus. 7 leaders at this time, we would like to honor each of those leaders with a brief remembrance of their served at Meadows Elementary.
Ray Ledgers was honored to be the first principal at Meadows Elementary. He helped in design of the building and staffed the elementary. And staffed the school. Mr. Ledger's biggest accomplishment, in his opinions, were the excellent teachers and staff that helped make Meadows Elementary an excellent school. He would be so pleased to see the new school and what the future has in store for the Meadows.
Mrs. Rita Drawbeck's 10 years of service as principal at Meadows Elementary School was the highlight of her career in education. Serving as principal for 10 years was her most productive and satisfying position that provided success and encouragement for all students and teachers. When she was named principal at Meadows Elementary, she became the first woman principal in Fort Bend ISD. She moved from Lakeview Elementary into a new open concept setting at Meadows. Mr. Charlie Thomas was named as her assistant principal in 1977. She immediately found a very capable faculty in place and an incredibly supportive community. Many of the parents were willing to volunteer at the school and were able to assist with many of the routine tasks often performed by the volunteers. These volunteers became a vital part of the school. The entire community was involved, and that same support has continued throughout the years at Meadows Elementary. The Cooperative Regional Program for Deaf Children soon became an important focus on the campus and remained there for many years. Special education programs were added to the school to support students with learning disabilities and physical handicaps. Early on, enrollment increased, and the staff found themselves serving 1,100 students in the building that presented challenges for them all. The faculty, parents, and community helped the faculty meet those challenges. Meadows Elementary School will always be near and dear to her heart, as well as the teachers, staff, parents, and community members that she had the honor of working with throughout her 10 years as their principal. She wishes you all success and wonderful memories in this new building we are rededicating today.
Ms. Terry Harris followed Rita Drebeck, serving as principal of Meadows Elementary School from 1984 to 1999. She was without a principal for the first 2 years, and she depended greatly on the strength of team leaders, a cohesive faculty, a well-organized system, and she strived to continue the practices that Rita had developed. In 1986, Scotty Bass came on board as assistant principal, enhancing the leadership team. They served 750 students ranging from kindergarten through 5th grade, as well as the regional day school for the hearing impaired and parent-infant program. Meadows Elementary was a showcase of effective teaching practices and was the place where other students in the district came to observe, and the teachers were eager to share their ideas and experiences for the good of education for all. It was well known that the community support and pride made Meadows Elementary an incredibly special place with a positive and welcoming environment where the children came first. Meadows Elementary will always be successful because the community supports the school as the school supports the community.
Ms. Scotty Bass had the privilege of opening Meadows Elementary School as a second-grade teacher in 1973 under the leadership of Mr. Ledger, and learned so much about team teaching in an open-concept school with many of her colleagues who all set high standards of education for all students with parental and community involvement. She was elected to return in 1986 as assistant principal with Terry Harris for 5 years, and saw the same high academic standards in place for quality teaching and parent and community involvement as she had seen the first year Meadows opened. In 1991, Ms. Scotty Bass was named principal of Meadows Elementary and worked in that position with her assistant, Ms. Billy Shahid, for the next 10 years until her retirement. And then passed the leadership of the school to Mr. Arma Kobos, the 5th principal of Meadows. Disabled teachers and staff have always instilled high academic achievement, good citizenship, and pride in the school, as well as patriotism for our state and country and all our students. The school was always looked on as one of the most successful schools in Fort Bend ISD and was supported by the administration and school board. She is grateful for her 17 years of service to Meadows Elementary, faculty, parents, and community who worked with her as a member of the Meadows Mustang family. She wishes you all continued success in this beautiful new building and is so proud of the legacy of all who came before and are working here today to contribute to the education of the children in our Fort Bend Independent School District.
Meadows Elementary continued to flourish during the 90s. Miss Cobos became the assistant principal for a very short time after Miss Shaded had worked under Scotty Bass tenure. Soon after Miss Bass retired, she was honored to be named the new principal of the school. It was the beginning of some of the best years of her professional career. The school was already at a place where teachers and staff were positioned to continue to escalate the teaching and learning. The excellence continued. The presence of the parent and community was the strongest sense, which gave the campus the connection they needed to develop the whole child. It was no surprise that the wonderful Mayor Jessup and the City Meadows Place Police were at the campus, beck and call at the drop of the hat. The students were all at a place where they felt a sense of pride and flourish in their own learning. The open concept added value as the staff took structure as a positive attribute and made it work for them. They all thrived under one roof in a huge classroom. True collaboration and communication was a daily experience. Students didn't have one teacher, but rather everyone was their teacher. Staff was an open book in every sense of the word. The absence of walls lent itself to the true meaning of family atmosphere. In other words, the staff were all friends and neighbors. Sadly, Miss Cobos came to know that the building had to be demolished because of its deteriorating structure, but heard that the new architectural design is beautiful and amazing and could not wait to see it soon. By the way, she is so excited to know that you no longer have a slanted cafeteria. So to everyone, let's embrace the change and create another legacy under a new roof. Ms. Cobos can't wait to hear about the success stories as Meadows Elementary continues to thrive. She wishes the school and community the very best in many years to come.
In 2012, Mrs. Labus joined the Meadows family, already having strong connections to the school community. Mr. Ledger, the first principal of Meadows, hired Mrs. Labus in Fort Bend ISD, where she remained for 30 years before retiring, and Joy Llewellyn and Pat Lunn, who exceptional Meadows educators, trained Mrs. Labus early in her career as a fourth-grade GT teacher. During her 6 years as a principal, Mrs. Labus developed many lasting relationships with students, staff, parents, and community members. She considers her years of serving Meadows Elementary among her favorites due to the school community's strong commitment to excellence in academics and character, which is evident by the number of faculty members who provide training and coaching to teachers across the district, and the strong partnership with parents, community members, and Mary Jessup of the City of Meadows Place. While the school may no longer be the little school on the prairie it once was, Meadows Elementary continues to excel and thrive while serving families as the heartbeat of the City of Meadows Place.
Miss Dickey is the current campus principal of Meadows Elementary. In 2018, she was honored to follow in the footsteps of Mrs. Labus. When she arrived, she learned that the community, along with Miss Labus, rallied together to save Meadows Elementary. Shortly after the saving of their school, a bond election was held and passed to allow the new campus to be built. Miss Dickey is honored to serve the Meadows community and its students. She believes that all students have a purpose in life and that as partners we can afford children the best educational opportunity. Although through COVID, a rebuild, and much more, Miss Dickey is excited to see what Meadows' future has in store. As you can see, throughout the 48 years of history, only seven campus principals have been honored to serve this great community. As a school community, honored the legacy and look forward to many more years to come.
And at this time, we do have most of our former principals here today, except for our late Mr. Ledger. But I would like you ladies to stand. Miss Rita Drawbeck, Miss Terry Harris, Miss Scotty Bass, Miss Irma Kobos, and Miss Michelle Labus. Thank you for being here. And one little round of applause for our keynote speakers. Mr. Owen Bentley, Eleazar Martinez, Elliot Fields, Elise Tran, Gabrielle Gashgai, Tyler Abarca, Sawyer Miller, and Miss Nora Young. Thank you, boys and girls. You may be seated. This year marks my 15th year as an educator, but 34 years in Fort Bend ISD. In 1989, my family located to Sugar Land to provide my sisters and me with a quality education. I entered kindergarten at Austin Parkway Elementary, where I later served as assistant principal and attended First Colony Middle and Clements High School. Education was never easy for me. I struggled, and my parents were constantly looking for answers as to why I was having a hard time with reading comprehension. Throughout my entire life, I was surrounded by individuals who faced academic struggles, my sister, my husband, and now my daughter. Life has taught me that it's not the negative things that define you, but how you overcome adversity in challenging times. With all this being said, I was always taught by my father that education was the best gift you could receive. Never waste it or take it for granted. My time spent in education has never felt like a job to me. I wake up every morning ready to work and serve my passion. It's my passion and something I genuinely love to do and cherish. Each of the 5 schools that I have had the pleasure of working at, Palmer Elementary, Austin Parkway Elementary, and Sullivan Elementary, Hunters Glen Elementary, and now Meadows, have helped define me and mold me into the educator and leader I am today. Along with those communities were leaders who believed in me and felt I could take my career one step further. When I was selected as the new principal at Meadows, I quickly found out I was going to be a part of a rebuild and writing the next chapter for this campus. I believe I even pinched myself when Dr. Rodriguez gave me a call. For the last 4 years, I have cried, worked hard, had to stay safe during a global pandemic, move, reestablish school procedures, and a whole lot more. A lot when you actually list it out. But without hesitation, I can say that this staff is extraordinary. Along with its community, it's what helps continue to write the legacy of Meadows Elementary. Never once have I ever given up or ever felt defeated. Even though we were in tough times, we were united and prevailed for our students, our staff, and community. When I introduced myself to the team, I wrote them a letter, and I told them, I'm the lucky one, right at the end. I stand here before you today, still telling myself the same thing, Meadows community. Thank you, and please know, I still believe I'm the lucky one. Without further ado, I'm honored to introduce you to the staff of Meadows Elementary. So if you are currently serving at Meadows Elementary, could you please stand? Thank you so much. And I would also like to honor any of those who have served, taught, or gone to Meadows Elementary that have been or that are now in the audience today with us. If you would please stand. Thank you so much. At this time, I'd like to invite our board president, Dave Rosenthal, to come forward and officially rededicate Meadows Elementary.
Thank you, Mrs. Sticky. As the board president, I am truly honored on behalf of the Board of Trustees to officially rededicate this school as we recognize the rich history of Meadows Elementary in Fort Bend County. I want to thank everybody for attending today, especially many of our special guests and former teachers and former students. This is just a great atmosphere. Thank you so much for being here. I have lots of ties to many of these people. Mrs. Dickey was there, I think, at Austin Parkway when my daughter was there. Ms. Labus was the principal a few years when my daughter was at Austin Parkway. And Ms. Terry Harris, in 2016, when I became a first-year teacher, was my mentor before I became a last-year teacher in 2017. That joke never gets old. But I'm going to go off script a little bit. I remember in 2018, many of the meetings in the boardroom when all the community showed up in their red Save Meadows Elementary shirts. And I remember this discussion was always around community schools. And during one of those meetings, I had said, if you look in the dictionary, if you look up community schools in the dictionary, there's a picture of Meadows Place Elementary. And I believe that was true for a long time, and it's very true still. So, again, I also just want to thank everyone, as Dr. Whitbeck did, who was involved in the remaking of this. I know it was a long journey, being displaced for a little bit at Barrington Place, and this building really is, it's just more of it's more than a structure. It's really a community gathering place, and that's why it really is a community school. It really is, as people have said, the heart of the community. And so it's this gathering place with a unique pledge of leading and empowering students to achieve their highest potential in life. So on behalf of the Board of Trustees of the Fort Bend Independent School District, I officially rededicate this facility as the Meadows Elementary School on this, the 15th day of May 2022. May it serve our community with pride, and may it exist to inspire and equip all students to pursue futures beyond what they can imagine for many years to come. Thank you very much.
Yay, we finally got here, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this does conclude our dedication program, and I'd like to thank each of you for being here today. At this time, we invite you to join us for some cake and lemonade out in the lobby, and once again, thank you, everyone.